Hey everybody, welcome into the OSG Garage. Today we're going to get the old Montesa 1971 COTA 247. We're going to get it ready for trials this year. Those of you that know me a little bit on the channel know that I race in the AHRMA, the American Historic Racing Motorcycle Association, in both trials and motocross. We're going to take a look at the motocross bike a little bit in the future. Got some things coming in on that, some parts being made up for it, so we'll have that ready to go in a little bit. But for today, we're going to get this thing kind of cleaned up. I got some stuff I got to do to a new tank that I got, and just kind of give it a nut and bolt and go through it to get ready for the first race. So I've had this thing for a couple years. I've been through a few seasons. I started out a few years ago on the Novus line, then 3 line, a little bit easier line. I rode on that for 2 years. Last year, I was able to finish, the year before last, I was able to finish in 2024. I finished 3rd overall for the season. Now this year, in 2025, last year, I started running on the 2 line, the intermediate line, and I gotta tell you, it kind of kicked my butt. There were a few times when I felt a little bit over my head on some of the lines, a little bit difficult. But I pushed through it, and I got through pretty much the whole season, and the bike actually did a really good job. I spent the last few seasons trying to work on this thing to be more reliable. I upgraded the ignition to an electronic ignition. We put a OKO flat side carburetor on it. Last year, we upgraded it to a kind of a modern type of controls, or at least handlebars in a riding position that were modern. Kind of rising them up a little bit more forward, kind of more like a modern trials bike. We also dropped the forks up in the triple clamps a little bit to steepen up the steering rake, so that we're not so slacked out. Now it wants to turn a little bit more. In the past, I've also upgraded the suspension with some OZO shocks, put a very large sprocket on it from Sprocket Specialties. I'm like 4 or 5 teeth over a stock right now, which really gets the thing nice and slow. We also put some modern foot pegs on it, so we're not sliding around. And I put them in a little bit better position, a little bit down and back, in order to get a little bit better position on the bike. Now, last year, like I said, I had a few tough sections that I really had some issues with, and the bike was on the ground a little bit more than I probably would have liked it to be. As you can see, it's got a few dents and dings on it from some falls. Now, one of the worst thing that happened last year is the tank cracked on the underside of it. The tank that's on this bike right now is a backup tank. When the bike fell, it split pretty much these 2 pieces right here and opened up. Now this tank is a kind of I got off a parts bike from one of the guys in the ARMA, and it was not finished. It was in primer. It was really in rough shape, but it held gas. So I put this wrap on it, and if you look at it from a few feet back, it looks pretty good. Except with most things like this, if you put stickers on a tank, they bubble out. The tank starts gassing. I mean, I knew this was going to happen, but for the few times that I rode it, it looked good when I did it for the few rounds last year. And you can see some of the other scratches on it from some of the falls. This was only a temporary solution for me, but it looked pretty good when I first did it. But we're going to take this tank off, and we're going to put our original tank on, but with a twist. Alright, so here's the original tank that was on the bike. It's not the greatest, but it's in pretty good shape. And actually, I've gone through and sealed it with Carswell Dragon's Breath. It's a red epoxy sealant for tanks. It works really good on these fiberglass tanks for sure. It doesn't have a lot of scratches on it. The paint isn't in horrible shape, but it's pretty good. It's got one original badge on it. The one on the other side is a reproduction. And here's the problem with it though. When it cracked all along the bottom edge right here, and basically the inner shell and outer shell split in two, and everything was leaking out right in here. My attempt to put some JB Weld on there wasn't the best. It was kind of leaking through and it looks kind of ugly. So the problem with this, when these two tanks split like this, it's really kind of hard to put a fix on them because of so many years of the fiberglass being impregnated. It's very hard to seal those up back together. Plus, the sealant that's on the inside of the tank is already split, and putting more in it is kind of it's not the best solution, let's put it that way. So one of the things that Facebook is really good for, there's not many, but one of them is when you have an old motorcycle or you have a hobby or something like that, there are some really good groups with people who are really good and have a lot of resources, and pretty much all over the world. Now, especially when you're into so many old Montesas like I am, you really have to find a lot of people that pretty much aren't in this country in order to get most of your parts and spares, because the bikes weren't really that popular here. So to that end, I was able to find an aluminum under tank from a guy named Mark Warboy, who's on Facebook. He builds these things over in England. And he was able to build one up for the type of tank that I have and shipped it over to me. So what I have to do is basically go through this tank and cut out the whole bottom here of the shell, slice it off, and then make it so this tank fits up under it. Now we'll use some rubber between the two to hold it down, some old inner tube, something just to get it kind of in position. But then I don't have to worry about the fiberglass tank cracking. If I do happen to drop the bike and I fracture a seam on this I can TIG weld. I can TIG weld aluminum and fix that. I also don't need to worry about having old gas inside of it. Gas is not something you want to leave in it. Ethanol gases are horrible for the fiberglass. But even regular racing fuel, I use Sunoco 110, leaded, ethanol free. Even that can kind of get through and impregnate the tanks if they're not sealed perfectly. I could probably just take the tank off and do it that way too, but I want to get as much of this out of here as I can before we do that. Alright, while that's draining, we're just going to take a 13 millimeter and a 12 millimeter and take the tank off. Take the bolt off anyway. So the last two mounting points are here. I've got I think a 4 millimeter Allen wrench and a 10 millimeter bolt on the back on both sides. So we'll get our 10 mil. I think it's a 4. Oh, I don't have a 4 millimeter T. I'll grab one of these. It's kind of fiddly. There's not a lot of room back here to put these on. And also, the other thing I'll probably do is make a new little rubber washer here. This rubber washer is kind of toast. Alright, so our gas is kind of just dripping a little bit. We're going to turn this off. And I think what I'll do is we'll take the tank off and we'll drain the rest of it on a bench. Alright, so now with this kind of setup on these garbage can in a box, we'll just finish draining the rest of this stuff out. And we can go check and see how that aluminum tank fits. Alright. Oh, tape is coming off there too. Let's give this a little test fit. Oh man, that's so cool. All right, here we go. I guess I'm gonna be committed here. So this is pretty scary actually, doing this. Oh, awesome. I'll show you some other things that happened in here once I get this cut open. I think I'm going to try cutting these slabs off here first. I don't want to have to go too close to the outside of the shell and break through yet. So let me see how I'm going to do this. You know what? Let's cut this. All right. So it looks like this part is basically done. All right, so now the issue I have is getting down in here where this throat is. So I've kind of switched over to this end mill on here, and I'm going to try and gouge this out and see. Again, I got to be careful so I don't come real close to this outer shell. I'm not really sure how far over it goes, so I'm going to err to the side of a caution and cut it out here in the thick section, and then I can grind it down after. Well, I got a lot of it. I'm just not sure how deep to go down in the throat here before you hit this. It looks like I've got a fair amount of room in there, but I just don't, like I said, I don't want to cut through the shell, so. I believe we're free. We're not, almost free. Oh yeah, we're free. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you can see a lot of where the old tank sealer was. It wasn't necessarily bonded the greatest. These tanks become so impregnated with gas that it's hard for the sealers to be effective. You really have to get in there and try and clean it all out. So now for me, I've got to take all of this extra little bit out here, all the way around the tank, try and get as much of this out as I can. And I think the thing that's going to be the hardest for me is taking this out. I might, the spout, the filler spout, that has to come through. I think I might try and cut it here and here with a hacksaw first, see if I can't take it out in pieces. But let's get the inside done first, and then we'll work on that. So this carbide bit, it's kind of like a carbide end mill almost inside of the cordless die grinder, is working pretty good. So I'm going to continue to keep working around here, and then when I get all this stuff out, when I start working on the spout down there, I'll pull you guys back in. All right, well, using that bit, we got this backside here looking pretty good. I don't know how much more of this I should take out, but I think I'm going to try and get this big finger here, this lip. That's kind of where the petcock was, and it had a little well that sat down in there. So once I get all of this stuff off, I'll try and chip off much more of this sealant as I can. But this bit really seems to be doing the trick. I got this from McMaster Car, and I've used it for hogging on cases after I weld them, aluminum cases. It's really nice to take kind of pull down a lot of that weld bead when I have to do some repair on any any case. All right, I'm gonna get back at it. I'm gonna take this out, and then I'm gonna work on getting the spout out. All right, this is probably overkill, but let's see if we can get this to kind of work. Yeah, I might be regretting this in a few minutes. Yeah, maybe not. That's what I didn't want to do. Just that. See that right there? Well, that's okay. We'll figure that out later. That was nice and controlled. That's usually my MO. I screw one of them up, and then I do fine on the next. Oh, look at that. It came right out. Nice. All right. So that one piece just kind of fell right out, and these seem to just be doing the same. Nice. All right, let's go get that tank and see if... Oh, I got to get this out yet too. Not sure what to do. You know what? Let's do this. We're going to cut this off and then drill it. Now we're going to get a drill. All right, check the spout on the other one and it says it's 286. So let's just drill this and see what happens. Aluminum bushing stuck on there. All right, let's see. Where are we at here? How bad is this going to be? From somewhere that made it how many thousands of miles away? Ooh. Well, that's not bad at all. I can see that it's off just a smidge. The head of that is off just a little bit. Here, let me show you. You can kind of see it's not exactly centered. One other part here, right in here, where this is going to interfere as well. So we're going to have to go in here and clean all this stuff up too in the front of that tank first. All right, let's look inside of here. You can see we've got most of all that cut away. Let's see how we can get the inner tank fits or not. It is so close. It's just hitting a little bit right there, but you can kind of see it's hard with this light, but it needs to be enlarged a little bit to the back. So I think I'll take the cutoff wheel and just buzz it in the back here real quick. Let's look at this again, shall we? I think I got enough of it out there now to fit all the way in. Oof, oofda. There you go. I'm going to call that in. All right, let's take it over to the bike and see how that all works now. All right, here we go. So the idea is to try and make sure it goes down low enough to get this tank hole to line up and this one in the back. And look at that. I'd say, ladies and gentlemen, that we're good. I got this bolt here. I could go down a little bit more. And these here are all lining up. But overall, man, that looks really nice. You can barely tell that it's an aluminum tank unless you really look at it. And I guess I'll have to pop that down a little more. All right, so we're gonna have to get some type of a sanding disc or something and kind of buzz away the inside of the tank. So let me get that taken care of, and I'll come back in a little bit and show you how the final fit is. So the plan here is to use a different bit in this one, in this grinder, my die grinder, electric die grinder. I'm gonna get rid of the carbide, and we're gonna use a sanding bit like this. And the other thing I have here is a pneumatic tool. It's a right angle grinder, a 40 grit wheel in it, like this. And we'll try and get all of these things as smoothed down as we can, especially up in this area here. Especially up inside of this area here. So let me tack that first. Oh, and then I just got a screwdriver, and we'll pry as much of this stuff off as we can as well too. I think this thickness here is keeping us from going all the way home. Oh, look at that. Not a very good bond, was it? Oh well. I mean, it did seal the tank when I installed it the first time. All right, let's go. Okay, so I think we're pretty much done with, turn this around, get the sun help us. I think I'm pretty much done with grinding all the inside of this thing out. I like how all of this fits. I just want to take a few seconds and pop as much of this junk out as I can from the sealant, that epoxy sealant. Some places it stuck pretty good. I mean, you do what you have to do at some point, don't you? You know what? There's still some high spots here. I think I'm gonna go grab that that disc sander and give this another shot. Just these little tips here in case they're hitting on stuff. Pieces of resin here that are probably from the original tank. We're just going to get that as smooth as we can to see if it helps to keep that tank all the way down. Alright, one other thing too while we're at it, I'm going to try and buzz off some of this JB Weld. I know it's a little windy for the camera, but it's nice for doing this because I don't have to be sucking this dust in my mouth. this Scotch-Brite pad will take some of it off without mucking up with the red on there. Let's give it a shot. All right, for now I'm just going to leave it here. And of course the air compressor kicked in. All right, tell you what. We're going to pop this thing back, bring this thing back in the shop and fit it up one last time, and maybe we'll put the seat on. Maybe we'll put the seat on next too. So let's see how this all plays out here. So we got the tank. I'm gonna pop the tank up here, or we think it wants. Oh. So I'm wondering, just putting this tank on before I test fit that, I got kind of a, here and here it kind of sits, and here kind of wants to fit. So I'm wondering, I'm gonna grab some old inner tube and I'm gonna try and make some rubber pads on there. So we got these little pads here now. So we're gonna throw that up there. Oh, I don't think I put this one. One of these two might not be in the right spot. Not sure if this one needs to be further back or this one more forward, but let's get the top on and we'll see. It's gonna go much further. All right, so it's gonna go right about there. So the one in the back I didn't put in the right spot. The one in the front is good, but this one in the back's got to come a little bit further out. All right, I spent a little more time looking at it and changed strategy slightly. I put two of them here, but I hear something down here hitting. And right here, I can hear that too. I'm not sure if it ever makes it there, but I think what we're going to do is just put a little rubber pad there too. I just don't want this thing rattling around. I wonder if I have to, I wonder if I should. Wonder if I should put it on first. Oh, no, there it goes. There it goes. All right. Now, I've got a little problem here still with this hole not lining up perfectly. And I think that's because I put some rubber pads on it. But I'm just going to open this up, wallow that out a little bit with a file for now. But before I do, we got to put the... All right, so the seat is something I had made by Corbin. And it's kind of cool. I don't know, I spent a lot of money on this bike for stupid things, and this is probably the stupidest thing. But it's got red piping and red stitching in the inside. And it looks just like the seat that I had them do on my GPZ 550. So at the time I was, you know, thinking it'd look kind of cool on this thing. But the seat and the front forks probably have more invested in them than any other part on the bike right now. Race Tech has been through those, and they got gold emulators and the whole 9 yards. Anyway, we're gonna get the seat mounted up. I'm thinking at some point I might go ahead and maybe reinforce these holes in the underside of the seat, underside of the pan here, where the seat goes. There it is. And maybe even use a little more fiberglass in these side holes here, where the side panels get mounted to the frame, to give them a little more stiffness and rigidity. But we'll see. That's for later. This thing has survived a long time without needing that, so I don't think it'll be an issue. Can I get that? You know, I love Allen keys with ball drivers on them. They have a place, but they're also a pain in the butt because you can't really get screws started. like you want sometimes with them. Anyway, just my rant. Get that kind of centered. How centered does that look? Yeah, looks pretty good. There it is with the seat on. And like I said, I still gotta buzz that hole open a little bit. I don't know if I want to do that or not. So I think for now, I'm just gonna leave it. But let's get the, I think I got a petcock here somewhere. Well, here's the gas cap. The gas cap on a Montesa is just a couple O-rings, and it slip fits into the top of that. Here's the vent for the breather, vent tube. And let's find the petcock. Here it is on the bench. All right, let's see. So these are just a straight kind of thread, and they have just like an O-ring or a gap. Oh, well, that's not going to work. I think I've got to put another O-ring in there to space it out. What I was going to say is it's just basically a straight thread and then an O-ring on the top. So let's stack. I think I got some O-rings here somewhere. One box there. Right now everything in the shop is a mess because we're moving the metal shop from back in the garage on the other side of the house where it used to be, in a 3-car garage, to I built a little building for it here inside the metal building. So all of this mess, all of these bolts and nuts and drill indexes and tools and everything else, it's just kind of hanging out right now until I can get it all installed. All right, so I just threw another O-ring on there. Let's throw this up there and see how this works. If this gives me the spacing that I need. I feel so much better now that this isn't perfect. Well, it looks good. See, that tank though is kind of flopping around still, isn't it? Not in the front. It's pretty good in the front, but in the back, you can see it's moving up and down. All right. I think what we'll do too is put some of that rubber up top here too. That way, hopefully, it won't flop around so much. Let's see. 2 pieces? I don't know. Scissors will cut 2 pieces off here, double it up, and see how that works. Helps if you put the scissors in your hand the right way. Let's take a look. A screwdriver and just see how much that really wants to kind of go down. I see it's kind of pivoting. When I do this, it pops up in the back. So if I don't push it down in the back, I can get the screwdriver kind of in there. If I do that, then this kind of picks up in the back, and I don't want that. I want this part of the tank to sit on the frame so it's not stressed. I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter anymore because it's, I don't have to worry about the tank cracking on the inside. So let's just take this and we'll waller that hole out a little bit and get it to go down when the tank is set in the back. Well, maybe I got too many rubber shims on the other side. Let's see. This isn't, yeah, this isn't popping up anymore. Hold on one second. Rat tail file. Fiberglass. And a hole. see that hole poke in there. Let's give it a shove down. Hold on one second. I think we're good. I got it to come through. My washers are, my nylon washers I made in my lathe are a little tight, so I literally have to screw them on. Did I put the washer on the other side already? I did. So we're going to tighten all this down. We're going to put ones on in the back. We're going to call this job done. Well, other than cleaning that up and fixing that, but I can only do things about 95%. And then I have my ADD kicks in and I move on to something else. I think put the tank on. It's all bolted in. I got the bolts on in the back, the seats on, we got the petcock on. The one thing I do want to do right now is just double check that this isn't leaking. So I'm going to put this to off. I'm going to go grab some gas and let's fill her up. Oh, look right here. Same stuff that we pulled out of the other tank. We'll pull into this one. Ugh. All right, here comes the test. Does she leak? Well, I don't see any drips. Let's see if I got fuel flow through. Oh yeah, we're full. Awesome. I don't see any drips right off the bat. Man, this freaking thing messy. Weren't we supposed to clean this thing at some point too? That was in the beginning of the video, right? Well, we'll have to do that some other day maybe. All right, well there she is. All the aluminum tank tucked in her little hole. Beautiful. All right, so I'm going to pull this thing off of here. We're going to go start it up and just, I don't know, see if it rattles or anything like that, okay? I forgot how nice this red actually looks. For now, I think we're going to finish this video up today. We'll leave a few of these dents and a few of the other things. We'll clean up the rest of the side here. I'll fix this fender and the general cleanup. I think we're going to leave that for another day. But for now, I think we should try and give this thing a couple kicks over. It probably will take, I'm thinking cold bike, maybe 4. I don't know, we'll see. Let's give her a shot, eh? Today for the OSG Garage. Thanks for watching. Come back and fix everything else later, guys. Bye-bye. Oh, and remember to like, share, and subscribe if you're not already. Talk to you later. No throttle. One hand. Just idling. Sometimes it doesn't like turning, but she chugs along pretty good.